Hey guys, decided to try doing a little vloggy kind of video, and we'll see how that goes. I get a lot of questions of stuff I use. Where does it go? What do you do with it? What tools are you using? That kind of thing. I try to cover that stuff in videos as I go along, but I don't want to repeat myself over and over again. I don't want to, every time that I put something on the lift, explain what the lift is, what kind it is, that kind of thing. So that's why I don't go about that. And also, when the questions kind of come up, I get so many of them coming in that I just can't respond to them. So to give you an example, like I get like 400 responses or questions or just banter back and forth. Just to read those all day is probably an hour in time alone, just kind of going through that stuff. And I allot so much time, generally in the morning when I'm having coffee, to respond to one here and there. But I just can't attack them all. It's just physically impossible. Plus, I'd rather spend the time making a video for you guys to go check out instead of just doing that part of it. If you guys who have been around the channel for a long time, you do see those questions kind of pop up and you know the answer, feel free to jump in and say, this is this or that, or he does this with it, that kind of thing. The lift, I'll answer your question right now. The one common one that I use, it's just a handy lift. It's a common commercial type of lift that's available. I added the extensions onto it. I'll show it to you a little bit later. And made those, but it's just a standard motorcycle lift that most of the shops do use. Harbor Freight makes one too, but that's the one I got. I ended up just looking on Craigslist for it and got a good deal on it. It was new when I got it at the time. I probably had it for 15 years, something like that. Lifesaver. Let's go with the last video. We talked, every video that comes up, I try to guess what the main topic is going to be where people respond to all the time. And I try to cover it in a video, but there's always something that pops up that seems to be a common theme. The last one was the generator. We just got done doing that little suitcase looking Onin generator. And two things that were common on that one was the gas tank. Why don't you clean the gas tank with different chemicals, and you put this in it, you can put that in it. Each one is a little different as far as what the process is that I feel that it should take. I know I didn't show you the inside of the tank, how it looked. It just had some light staining on it, so I didn't want to put abrasives in it or acids in it. And the reason why I didn't want to do that is most gas tanks, although they look like just bare shiny metal on the inside, they generally have a coating on them of some sort that helps protect them from rusting. And when you introduce the acids and the scratchiness and whatnot to try to remove that, you actually make it worse in the future than if you just kind of left it alone. So that's why I decided on that tank, again, just to stop where it was. It actually looked fairly decent, except for just right around the gas neck on the inside, which I actually took a little bit of a wire wheel. I didn't show it. I took a little bit of wire wheel around the neck of it, and of course around the neck of the gas cap for that reason. And another thing with that tank too, it had a float, a plastic float on the inside of it, and like a receiver or sending unit up on the top of it. So I didn't want to damage that anymore. It had a slight leak to it. I didn't want to beat that up anymore, so I didn't want also, again, to introduce any chemicals to that would erode that plastic that was up there. So that's why I didn't do that. And then the second thing on that was everybody was asking, why don't you put a fuel filter in line on that? I wish I already put it away, but problem with a fuel filter, if it doesn't have a fuel pump, the fuel filters that you are limited to, essentially if you look inside them, it just looks like a piece of screen. That's all it is, because there's not enough pressure to push through a regular paper type of filter for it to go through, because it's essentially it's capillary action. It's kind of like water. Think of it, I'm trying to think of a good description. This isn't going to be a very good one, but like you fill up a glass of water, and you can actually make it brim over the top of it before it wants to break and go over the other side. Well, the filter's kind of the same way. It kind of goes and hits the filter material, but it just stops right there. And it can kind of wick through that a little bit slowly, but it won't flow fast enough for the carburetor to supply enough fuel to the carburetor. So they make little motorcycle ones and all. I really haven't had good luck trying to do that with those little guys. They have a tendency to the surface area on them is fairly small, and most float bowls, when you pull the carburetor off, there's actually an area that's kind of designed to pick up some debris and keep it out of harm's way, and then there's a pickup, usually the hole where the fuel is getting sucked up is usually about a 1/4 inch off the bottom. So unless it's something that's really bouncing around and getting hammered a lot and you know, jostled like a snowblower, you know, it really is, it just isn't worth the effort to go and put that on there. So that's why it doesn't have a fuel filter. Plus the other thing is the height between the gas tank and the carburetor. Like on that one, the difference is probably 4 inches from where it dropped out of the bottom of the tank to where the input of the carburetor is. That's all you have, is that little bit of a gravity feed going down there. Now if the tank was, you know, 1.5 feet above the carburetor, big difference. You get a lot more pressure coming through. But on something small like that, that's why I didn't bother doing that too. And again, each one's a case-by-case scenario. You look at it, you try to come up with your best solution for that. So that's why that wasn't done on that one. Let's go cross off some stuff so I don't go back to them. That lifts. Old oil and gas. What do I do with the old oil and gas that I have? In my other garage, I have some old boat gas tanks that really aren't good for pretty much anything other than storage. And what I do is I dump it into them, and then about 4 times a year, our town, or a combination of the towns around us, have a hazardous waste day. And they take that material, and you pull out the stuff's in the back of your truck, and not allowed to get out of your truck and all, and you just tell them, I want the containers back. And they'll take it and they'll dump it. And that's good for, you know, gas, oil, acids, you know, bug killer, all that kind of stuff that's you don't want to throw in your trash. So that's how I get rid of it. And I generally don't get that much of it a year, probably maybe 5 or 6 gallons of it. You know, you can get one thing. If you get an old car can have, you know, 15 gallons of crappy gas in it, and then, you know, that's a different story. But that's how I get rid of it. They say it's like a 10-gallon maximum. I've gone there with more than that. It's never been an issue. They just say, how many households are you covering? You really think about it. If I'm working on my neighbor's tractor, it's more than one household. So that's where that stuff goes. Wrist update. Another week. I'm going to wear this for one more weekend and go take it off. And again, that's the same thing. Everybody keeps asking, what did you do to your wrist? I already answered that on one video, but I don't want to answer it on every single video because, again, the video will just get filled up with just kind of chasing questions. I broke it riding the electric bike. I did an endo on it. Design flaw in the front brake. It's actually on a video, I don't know, 6-8 videos ago, something like that. And I cracked the main bone going down. I cracked it right across the base of it. That's good now. It's, again, about 2 weeks ago, I went ahead, follow-up x-rays, and 2 days later I talked to the doctor, radiology. He said, everything's healing good, you're doing fine, just keep doing what you're doing. If you only knew what I was doing. So I continue to try to wear it when I'm doing anything heavy, but if I'm doing a carburetor or something now, I take them off. That way I can put like protective gloves on to be able to protect my hands some. Of course, with this on there, you really can't put a glove on, or a welding glove, or, you know, whatnot. So that's what's up with that guy. Moving on. What do you want to get into? Double cab. Everybody keeps asking about the double cab. What's going on with the double cab? You bring the double cab. You still have the double cab. Yes, I have the double cab. It is in the tent garage. It is, you know, halfway through its body work process. That is more when it's slower, a winter project. When I have slow time in the winter, everything kind of slows down in winter time. That's just, you know, a fill-in project when I'm not working at work, that kind of stuff. I go and we'll play with that. I was trying for the longest time, for the last year, I was starting to get a lead on a Porsche 911 engine and trans. And I didn't want to say anything. I kept trying and trying. I was hoping to get that Porsche. It possibly still can happen. I kind of doubt it. But I want to try to get that Porsche engine and trans. And I was going to go put that in there and make that thing a sleeper. That would be awesome. All depends on what the price of that drivetrain is and that kind of thing. But I still have that link. I still keep inquiring about it. Let's see what happens. Maybe, maybe not. It'd be cool, I know, but it'd be a lot of work. But I kind of want to do that before the body work and everything is done. So, you know, I can modify and adapt and change things if need. this camera's got a 10-minute limit and it shuts itself off, so that was 10 minutes. Anyway, so the double cab, I'm still kind of waiting to see if that stuff will come through. If not, it's going to go continue as it is, stock, that kind of thing. Well, I got a couple of tricks up my sleeve that I want to show on that, but we'll leave that for when that project comes back in place. Let's go with, I don't know, you want to talk about YouTube-y kind of stuff? A lot of guys, I see your responses in they start, complaining that people give me thumbs down and stuff on videos. There's all kinds of people in the world. At one time, it kind of bothered me a little bit. It doesn't bother me anymore. If I get 20 thumbs down and I get 2,000 thumbs up, or whatever the issue is, I usually get 1 thumbs down for every 1,000 views that I get. That's a pretty good batting average for me, and I think it's like overall on my channel it's 50 to 1. Every 1 thumbs down I get 50 thumbs up. If it was the other way around, I would be a little bit more concerned about it. But it's just the nature of people. There's all kinds of people in the world, and whatever their thoughts are, and you never know what sets them off. They may be watching your video. You may have got mad at one of their comments that were rude, and you told them off, and now for the rest of their life they have a vendetta to make sure they see your video and give you a thumbs down. Whatever. It doesn't even hurt the channel. It actually helps the channel. It doesn't matter if it's a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It's just some kind of interaction that you get out of people that actually helps your channel. So that, in a way, they're actually helping. So what's the worst is if you watch and you do nothing, then it is an I don't want to say negative against the channel, but that's it doesn't help improve its standing with YouTube, let's say. So it doesn't really bother me. Let's go to all the questions and stuff that you guys answer and ask. I think I already kind of covered this a little bit, but when you start when I try to respond to all the questions, I kind of touched on this in the beginning of it. I just don't have the capacity to do so. I can't answer all the questions that do come in. And as I said, if you guys want to help in, feel free to jump in with that. And with that, sometimes you guys answer questions you can't answer on YouTube. I can answer them. You can't answer on YouTube for the fact that you got to keep anonymity is probably the best way to do it. You can't put everything out there. So I know you guys are interested. What do you do for work? How old are you? What's your situation? You can't be answering that stuff online, because for 99% of you, it may be fine, but there's, like I said, with the thumbs down, there's just all kinds of people out there. So you got to kind of, watch what you put out there, because other people are reading the responses to that too. And I don't want people that I work for to have to get, somebody stopping by and being a little, can I go visit or say hi to such and such? That gets a little weird. I get that at the house now, and even that's kind of a little odd, a little getting used to, It's, you want your privacy. Think of yourself if somebody was doing that to you. I know you guys feel like you have a personal relationship with me, and you really do, but it's an online relationship for the most part. It's not, I can't have 67,000 people coming over and visit. I never get anything done. So that's kind of like where that is. If I don't answer your question, and if I don't answer it in like one of these kind of things, there's a reason why I'm not answering it. I just don't want that kind of information out there. Like, you don't want my full name out there. You guys know what my first name is, but I don't want my name, my address, that kind of stuff. Where does he live? If I see any of that stuff, I got to go pull it off the channel, because it just takes one kind of stranger to cause issues. So let's go with what do we want to go with? Let's go with that. I decided a lot of you guys want to like send stuff to me and have help me out and that kind of thing, and I do appreciate that. And a couple of guys have reached out and done several things, and a couple of companies have done the same thing. I really appreciate it. It feels a little funny, but I do appreciate it. But the thing was, again, it's like you got to go put your private address out there, and you don't know if someone just is just trying to get your address, and again, kind of weird zone there a little bit. You got to kind of watch out for. So I ended up opening a post office box, and I have that set up. And if someone wants to go and send me something, what we'll do, we'll try it, see how it works. I'll put it in the description down below. I'll put that address in there. I know a couple of you have reached out and have asked me that recently, and I haven't gotten back to you, so I figured I'd kind of attack that in this video right here. So that's be the response to that. So again, I do appreciate it, and I figured maybe that would be a good way to go. If it gets, you know, a little, something gets kind of wacky with it, I could always take it off of this. So if you see this a year from now and it's not there anymore, that's what happened to it. What else do we want to go with? Tell you what, the camera's going to show off in a second. We turn you back off and gather my thoughts. I'll turn you right back on. And we're rolling again. All right. A couple other things we got is the projects that we're working on. I'm trying to grow the channel. I'm trying to keep it interesting for everybody. But if I put like 10 videos in a row of the exact same thing over and over again, the views go from, we'll just make up a number, 60,000, 55, 40, 40. It totally declines over the course of it. So if I mix them in back and forth, it does better. Plus, at the same time, it kind of keeps it more interesting for me too. I'm not one for working on something for 2 months. It gets, you know, ADD kicks in and you kind of lose interest. But I try to keep them all in the same loop. So the last one was we're doing the Honda 125 build, but I've been throwing other videos in between, but still kind of trying to concentrate on getting this one all the way through out to the end. So that guy is going along well. We got other ones that are in the works, which is, you know, the next two I kind of want to bring up are going to be the Cushman 3-wheeler. I want to get that in here. I got some parts for that. And the Vespa, I have a lot of parts for that. I think that, you know, of course, when I go to work on it, I'll find other stuff that it needs, but I did a big shopping order for that. All that stuff came in, all came in from overseas, so everything was like a 4-week waiting time on that. But I got a lot of that stuff in. So, they will come back in, hopefully they're the next ones, but again, I go yard selling and you find something that's really cool. They're fairly easy to knock out, you know, it's just a couple hours playing with an outboard or playing with a generator or that kind of thing. And they're fresh after seeing the yard sale video, so I like kind of peppering them in between too, and it keeps the other videos more interesting. So that brings us to, I don't want to close out with something. What was it? Where's the channel going? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out where it's going, just same as probably you guys are. It seems like what's very popular is just bringing old stuff back to life. I like doing that. It's very passionate. It's you know, it's the I think I can. Will it come back? Kind of. It's not junk yet, you know, or it is junk, and does it have another chance at life, and does it get to live another life again, and the just the challenge of trying to bring stuff back to life, I think is very interesting, and it seems to be my most popular videos that kind of come around, other than, you know, rather than working on the VWs and that kind of thing, seem to be just a fairly narrow group that kind of like that, or like VWs. The other stuff, it seems it's got a much better mass appeal to it. So with that, that's kind of the direction I think the channel is going. It's kind of steering in that direction, whereas if whatever we find to try to bring back to life or whatnot, I'll be doing more of that. And if it changes from there, we'll keep on going with that. The last thing I do need help with, and I'll kind of end it on this note, is the fact of YouTube decided, in their infinite wisdom, to get rid of YouTube Editor, which is what I used to do now. I take the chip out of the camera you guys are in, and I throw it in my laptop. I drag the files up. You can kind of make a timeline. You put the video together, and then you upload it. YouTube is deciding to get rid of that as far as September 20th. If you guys think that I know what I'm doing as far as putting the videos together, you're sorely mistaken. I could barely get an email out. So over the years, I've kind of learned just that system to be able to get it done and put together these videos. Glad you like them, but It's very barely there getting online. So with that, they're getting rid of that, and Windows 10 got rid of Windows Movie Maker, which was a very simple system too. If any of you guys know a nice, simple software to go about and use, there's plenty of them out there, but I even went and I took a class on one, and I got so lost. There's just too many things to try and use and tools to work with. It's mind-boggling, you know. I'm sure if I wanted to go and spend a lot of time playing with it, I could find, get it, kinda. But I'd rather spend that time making the videos and working on stuff than it is just sitting on a computer trying to get all stressed and figure out what's going on, and then one problem doesn't work. And if you guys ever dealt with just regular computer problems and trying to get them squared away, you know what I'm talking about. So with that, if you guys could recommend any kind of software that is nice and simple to work with, I'd appreciate it. And again, if this video is 6-8 months old, I think I've already got it by that point. Or if September 20th comes and you don't see any more videos, you know what happened. So we'll go back to a single file and put it up like that. So I'm going to shut this one off from here. Hopefully it all came out in the camera. Again, this camera runs for 10 minutes and kind of kicks you off, and you got to redo another file. And I think I'm probably getting pretty close to that. On that note, I want to thank all you guys for all the great comments, all the inspiration and accolation, accolades that you send my way, and enjoy what I do. And I enjoy doing it too. I have a good time. I just like having you guys hang out in the garage with me. It's kind of like, wrenching with a buddy of yours. That's kind of what I'm going for. So if that's what you feel, I guess I got it. And with that, guys, I'm going to go sign off. And thank you guys very much. And that's the lift I'm talking about. Handy lift. Made the extensions where you see the different color right there. Those I made myself. I worked in a metal fab shop. And bent those up for this. They sell extensions for it. You can get them in, I think it was either 8 or 12, and these are 10. I kind of split the difference on it for the width of it, and it seems to work very well for me. So I might. I'll tell you in a second.